So guys, hello and welcome to this new video on my channel. My name is Seyshi and today I'm going to show you the best characters for each position after the Ares update in Inazuma 11 Victory Road. A lot of people did ask me about that because I already made a video about the stat changes all in all, that all characters got better, but there are still some characters that are in the better stat range than the others, and how I said, a lot of people did ask for that, so I'm just doing this video right now where I'm going to show you on this tier list right here which characters are the best and which are not. And while I'm telling you this, I'm also going to show you the stat differences between these characters and what you should actually look at. If you like content like that, don't forget to leave a follow, leave a like, and now if I'm watching this video. Alright, let's just start with the most simple tier. We have the goalkeepers. With the update, we got 4 new goalkeepers, like new goalkeepers in the game that you can just play in the best stat range. The first character we have is Nishikage, the Inazuma 11 Ares King, Inazuma 11 Ares Sylvia, and Inazuma 11 Ares Endo. But for the people that all in all don't know anything about this tier list, here you can see we have tiers like G5, G4 plus, G4 minus, and the characters like that are in G5 tier have all in all the best stats goalkeeper wise in the game. G4 is also acceptable but not the best. G4 minus already a little bit more bad but also not the best. And before the update, all of these stats below the best tier was S because the gap was just too big. As an example, an Endo was on 442 agility before the update, and the Helio was on 422, but now they did change it, and I'm going to show it to you right now. Okay, here are the stats that we did talk about, and here we have a Nishikage on 442 agility. He's in the G5 tier. Then we have Rococo aka Helio in the G4 plus tier. There we have Rococo and Sengoji, and as you can see they are 449 agility, 214 intelligence and 398 pressure and 423 physical. So there is not that much stat difference anymore, and all of the characters in the G4 plus tier are all in all playable. And which characters I would still put in is our characters like Zagomel Zande and Astaroth, because as you can see also they have pretty solid stats now after the update. As you can see, 436 agility, only 6 less than a character in the best tier. This is very valid. Here as you can see, Rococo and Sengoji are here in the G4 plus tier. Here is in the G4 minus tier Astaroth and Zagomel Zande. And then we even have the G3 plus tier. There we have Dantoya, where I'm going to show you the stats. And we have the goalkeeper from Inazuma 11 Ares. I don't remember his name right now. In the G3 minus tier. And even characters on this stat range, like in the G3 plus tier, like Dantoya, have okay stats. Not even characters in the G4 plus tier, like Rococo, had 441 agility before, because they were on 422. So the stats boosts are really big, and these characters are still, I would say, playable. Especially in ranked, because there is a level 50 cap. The difference is only on like the All Alive 5 to 6 stat points, and this is really not that much. And on Amano you have 428. So all in all the stats are not bad, and he's also in the lowest tier, but 428 for the lowest tier is still playable. I would say if you like him, go for him. But all in all, Nishikage, Ibuki, Endo are just in the best tier. So if you are really grinding for the meta and everything, I would recommend you to go on Nishikage. At least to Rococo or Sengoji's tier, so G4 plus, not down below. Alright, and now we are already jumping into the strikers, not to the defenders. But here we have even a new tier. This is G0. There we have Sakurazaki. I'm explaining to you in an instant why he is there. Then we have all of these characters right here in the best tier. All of them are in G4 plus. All of them are in G4. And all of them are in G4 minus. And here we have the G3 plus tier, and here are even characters like Haru, Asuto, Nosaka, Haizaki. What's very sad, because their stats got really done dirty from level 5. I don't understand this by myself, because they are almost on the level like characters like William Glass or Soramiya. And this can't be for these tough characters. At the beginning where I saw that Asuto is in the S stat range, Nosaka and Haizaki as well, I thought I'm seeing that wrong, bro. I'm honest, because this can be that they are just getting done so dirty from level 5. But never mind. I'm going to show you the stat difference between these tiers right now for the forwards. We are starting with a character in the G4 normal tier. And here we have Johann Tasman. I just say the dub name because his Japanese name is weird. And as you can see, he is on 460 kick. And before the update, he was on 430 something. And that gap was just too huge. And now he is playable with 460 kick stats. This is very amazing. 409 technique. And then we even have Edgar Patrinus, that's in the G4 plus tier, and as you can see, there is not that much difference. Only a little bit less, a little bit more defensive stats on Patrinus, and a little bit more control, so 3, and only 4 more technique. The kick stats are the same. So they really made a good job with the stat changes. Then we have characters like Hiroto in the best character category from the stats, and he is in 464. And if you also just compare it to a character in the lower tiers, so Patrinus, like 2 technique, 1 control, 4 kick, this is really not that much if you compare it to the things before. Before Edgar Patrinus, I know this exactly was on 444 kick, and this stat difference now is just huge, and I really love this. And yeah, then we have still Sakurazaki in the G0 tier. Why he's in the G0 tier? He's the only character with actually 470 kick stats. But he is also not always on 470 kick. I also had Sakurazakis that were only on 460 kick. So if you only get him on 460, just rebuild him. But as you can see, he's got a little bit less intelligence, a little bit less technique, a little bit even the same control, a little bit more pressure, all like that. But the main point is, fuck on the tech. I don't care about the technique, not that important for the strikers, but 6 more kick is even a huge difference. So Sakurazaki is by far in the best category. And then we have all of these characters in the normal, one of the best category. Then we have these characters in the 3rd best category. And then we have the 4th best category, and forward, and forward, and forward. Obviously also going to link the tier list right here. It's completely updated now in the information box, so you can always look for it. But yeah, here we have the tier list. That's very, very amazing. Alright, now we are coming to the defenders. And this is now a little bit more complicated, because we got a completely new system, not system, tier name for the defenders. As you can see here, we have G5 center back, here we have G5 forward back. What does that mean? The center backs all in all have total stats a little bit less. But what is the difference between G5 center back and G5 forward back? We also have G4 center back and G4 forward back. As you can see, here we have a character in the G4 center back, and here in the G4 in the G5 center back, and here we have Kazemaru in the G5 forward back. What does that mean exactly? We are just checking the stats out, and as you can see, so in the G5 center back tier, he's got a little bit less technique, a little bit less kick, and a little bit less control, but way more intelligence, way more physical, and way more pressure, as you can see. Like 14 intelligence is a lot, I would say. So in terms that he doesn't have a lot forward stats like Kazemaru, he is called in the center back tier. And the tier with Kazemaru is called forward back. So just you understand that, forward FB and CB right here. And all of these characters are forward backs with a little bit more aggressive stats, I would say now. And they have a little bit more defensive stats. So better defensive stats than they have. But all in all, they have the most stat points in the game. Yeah, as you can see, we have characters like here in the forward back, in the G4 center back tier. And here we also have some characters in the G4 forward back tier. Here I'm having someone like Golem in the G4 forward back tier, and as you can see, he also just got a lot forward stats, like 2 less technique, even more kick than Kazemaru, 2 more control, but 6 less pressure, 7 less physical, and 8 less intelligence. That's why he's only in G4 and not in G5 like Kazemaru. But now for the forward backs, as you can see, Peabody is in the G4 tier and he's in the G5 tier, but as you can see, bro literally got only 1 less intelligence, 3 less physical, and 4 less pressure. But when you just check the forward stats right out, they are like very, very low, like 3 less technique, 6 less kick, and 4 less control. That's really not that much it, but still if you use them as your center back, so on positions like here, they are very, very valuable and still very, very good. And even all of these characters in the G3 forward back tier are still very, very usable, because their stats are not as. They are still usable. So all of these defenders right here in the forward back tier, I could recommend you to use. The center back tier can also have their advantages, but for my taste, I just like the forward back tier a little bit more for your defenders. But you can just go for what you want. All of these characters in this tier list right here having good stats. Alright, and now we are already coming to the midfielders, and for the midfielders it's still a little bit different. Here we have the G5 plus tier, there's still only Arian and Maya in, and now even the Ares got added if I'm not wrong. This is the Ares, don't blame me if I'm wrong. But here we already have a completely new tier, and before we had this tier in the second highest tier, but their stats did not get changed. So from Vamp, Stonewall, Shindo, and everyone, their stats did not get changed, okay? As you can see, they are still on 967, but this tier is just on 953 points, and I'm going to show you the stat difference between these tiers right now. Alright, here we have the characters. Here we have a character in the G5 tier, so in the best, Arian. Then we have him in the G4 plus tier, and then we have him in the G4 minus tier, and then we have him in the G3 plus tier, Frody. See, when we compare the stats from a character in the G4 plus tier like Hunter and Tenma, there is not a huge difference. Like free control, free technique, free kick, 1 intelligence, 4 physical, 4 pressure. This is really not much. Still, all of these characters in the G5 minus tier, not G4 plus, I'm sorry. G5 minus tier are still very valuable and very strong and usable, obviously. And here we are in the G4 plus tier, and here we have the character Isuku Homura, the captain from the Royal Academy in Victory Road. And when we even check bro's stats out now and compare them to Hunter or Tenma, bro, there is like also not really a big difference. There is like really not a big difference. But now we are coming to the G4 minus tier from the characters that did not get changed stats. As you can see, here we have a Frody. And when we just look at the Frody, he got 14 less technique. I mean, the kick and the control is not even looking bad. But characters in the G4 minus tier, like Vamp, Shindo, Frody, just got their stats built up on a little bit different, but they got less technique for that. So for an offensive Frody, I think he could still work, but for a defensive Frody, I would say you can forget him. Also because of the big intelligence gap. Like he's having 411 intelligence and he's having 419 intelligence. So that is still a huge difference if we just compare these stats side by side. 17 less technique, 7 less control, 8 less intelligence. This is really a lot, and that's also why characters like a Frody are only in the G4 minus tier anymore now. We still have some characters in the G3 minus tier. Here we have Kaiji aka Ake. If you compare him to Arian, there is also just a huge stat difference, yeah? 10 intelligence, 18 technique, and 8 control. So there's really a huge difference. Even if the stat gap is not that big anymore, there is still a difference, and I could still only recommend you to go on all of these characters, but it's on your opinion if you want to go for the characters you like or a little bit more on the meta. It's just in your hands, and I'm just here to help you guys. So if I was able to help you, actually, I would really appreciate the like and the follow. And now see you next time. Your Seyshi. Goodbye.